Hey guys, what's up? So as I said in the last video, if you watch that, hopefully I've had a stroke of... I had a stroke. No, I shouldn't joke about that. I had a stroke of inspiration lately. I've been brewing up a storm. So I made 3 standard decks. I made, I think, 4 modern decks and 3 legacy decks. And I'm going to do deck text for each. And I'm going to have you guys vote on which one you want me to record with first. So I already did the standard ones. Now I'm going to go through the modern ones in this video. So first one here in modern, first contender in the Brewfest is Doran Ascendancy. So this is a deck that was spoken about back when Ascendancy came out. And I didn't have the tickets to buy Doran at the time, and now I do. So I did. And also, Eldritch Evolution makes it a lot more consistent. So here's how the combo works. Doran, I'm gonna say Doran, is like Assault Formation. Where everything attacks with its butt, right? So he's an 0-5, so really he's a 5-5 because he deals damage equal to his toughness. Mardu Ascendancy, whenever a non-token creature you control attacks, put a 1/1 red goblin tapped and attacking into play. So here's the nut draw. Turn 1, Birds of Paradise. Turn 2, Doran. Turn 3, Mardu Ascendancy. Attack with birds, attack with Doran, get 2 1/1 goblins, sack this, they all get +0/+3, which really translates to +3/+0 because of Doran's ability, lethal attack on turn 3. That's the nut draw. How else you can get to it? Well, we got Treefolk Harbinger, so we have 11 mana dorks. We've got Treefolk Harbinger. Caryatid should probably just be like Elvish Mystic or something like that, but it does work kind of cool with Doran in a longer game. Anyway, 11 mana dorks and 4 Treefolk Harbingers is a way to search up Doran. Plus, Treefolk Harbinger works really great with Doran in that, it's a 1 mana 3/3, basically. Then we've got Eldritch Evolution as another way to search up Doran. You can also use this on Caryatid to search up Siege Rhino, which is another very powerful thing. If you think also, you could say, I don't think my opponent has any way to interact, so I'm going to turn 2, sack my birds, Eldritch Evolution, put a Goblin Rabblemaster into play. Let's say you don't have the Mardu Ascendancy waiting or something like that. And this is a card that can just win on its own. I put this in here because it's a way to make tokens to spread the damage of the sack effect of Mardu Ascendancy. Spellskite is just like a 2 mana 4/4 with a great ability. Siege Rhino is just a very powerful card. And your mana base, you deal a ton of damage to yourself. So like the life gain could be important in any kind of longer game. It's very fun. It's very fast most of the time. It's incredibly consistent because of the new tutor that they printed. And, it's cool. I had a lot of fun playing with this deck. I hope you like this one so I can record with it. I'm probably going to, spoiler alert, probably going to record with all of them. But whichever one gets the most votes is going to get the videos up first. Okay, the second one I'm going to show you guys is probably the least powerful and least consistent of the decks that I made. But this one had a building, restriction in that I built this deck. Again, this is another one I built way back in the day that I could never actually put together because I didn't have the money for the cards, and now I do. So, the restriction is that this is Scars Innistrad block standard, basically. This isn't fully modern, because obviously there's way more powerful ways to put this together in modern. There's better cards than Thought Scour and Civilized Scholar, that's for sure. But the deck is so much fun. This is not one that works all the time. This is one of those, doesn't work all the time, but when it works, it's fucking sweet. So here's how the plan basically is to get Bruna into play, whether it be by looting her away and casting Defy Death, bringing her back as a 7/7, or just casting her from your hand and then attacking the next turn. Angelic Destiny gives 4/4 +4/+4 first strike, which is awesome. And Corrupted Conscience gives it Infect. So you can so if you Defy Death the Bruna and then attack the next turn with an Angelic Destiny and Corrupted Conscience, it's some combination of in your hand or in your graveyard, you can do 11 Infect in one hit. So that's the whole point. Sunblast Angel is, being the other copy of Bruna. It's also a good way to slow down your opponent, whatever. In an aggro against an aggro matchup, but you basically fold against aggro because it's very slow. This is turn 5, 6, 7 at the fastest combo. So it's a slow combo, but it's just so sweet. It's just so much fun when it wins. This is also a really powerful card in general, just a good control card. Mind Control plus Give It Infect just seems like a really great way to threaten your opponent. Looter and Civilized Scholar, looting the things away to get the other piece that you need to go off. And, you really don't mind discarding the auras or the angels because, if you find the right thing, you're going to get them back anyway. So, and Thought Scour, just a way to dig yourself further. Forbidden Alchemy, same thing. Civilized Scholar is another alternate win condition. I've won by just, beating down with a 5/1 against an empty board. It's just something that happens sometimes. So, or, making it into a 9/5 flying first strike angel. Yeah, that works too. Somehow that seems to be a way to kill people. So, anyway, stupid deck, but it's fun, and I really like playing with it. And the new Bruna coming out made me think of this one, and I just I was sad that this card never had its day because it's a cool card. So okay, deck number 3 is a fun flavor deck. It's called Triple Delver. This is a mono blue tempo deck that actually plays much better than I thought it would. I originally made it just kind of as a fun joke, and it ended up being really fucking good. So as you know, Delver is a sweet card. It's been, giving people headaches ever since it came out, changed whole formats around, warped it around it, just a powerful one-drop common, right? And so storyline-wise, in the new set, they filled this out by making, so it's common, uncommon, rare, small, medium, large, kind of theme, which I thought was so cool. So I wanted to give Aberrant Researcher and Docent of Perfection its day. Delver being super great. Aberrant Researcher probably the least powerful of the three. 4 mana, 3/2 flying. If you put if you mill a instant or sorcery, you flip it into a 5/4, which is fine. 5/4 flying, still a threat that must be dealt with, right? And then Docent as a 5/4 flying, taking off where that one left off, with a great ability. And if you flip this, it's going to be pretty hard for your opponent to win. And then the rest, in order to make sure the Delvers flip, every other card is a spell. So we've got 12 cantrips just to quickly spit out wizards and or get to what we want to get to. 8 the counter spells / interaction with what your opponent's doing, protect your threat, and 6 interactive cards against creatures. This deck would benefit greatly from a sideboard, and basically what it would be is half of the sideboard would be more cards like this that interact with stuff, and the other half would be that interact with spells. And that would be that. It would be very simple sideboard. So this deck is fun. It's super themey. I tried to make all the cards kind of feel like you know, a laboratory scientist madman kind of probing, scouring, having visions, you know, making things disappear and leak and snagging them away and making them fall. All these cool, like, you know, science-y kind of blue cards that I thought fit well with the theme, yet still made the deck playable, right? Like, I know I could have put Lab Maniac and Rooftop Storm and stuff like that, but, like, that deck's not going to work. This deck works, and I hope you like this one, because it's super fun to play, too. So I guess there's actually 5 modern decks. I don't know where I got 4 from, but I forgot about this one. This is an old deck, Owling Mine, which won, I think, a standard GP or Pro Tour or something in 2006 in Hawaii, and I've updated it to include some new cards like Fevered Visions, because it just fits perfectly with what the deck's trying to do. This is a combo prison deck, and it's very, very fun. It's also a great multiplayer deck. I don't really play multiplayer that much, but for those of you who do, this is something that will you know, make everybody at the table hate you. So how the deck works is you make everybody draw extra cards. So we've got a couple Howling Mines, we've got some Dictative Krufix, Fevered Visions, and Kami of the Crescent Moon with his little butt. I think that's funny that there's a butt. And basically, you make everybody draw a ton of cards, right? You slow your opponent down by bouncing his lands with Eye of Nowhere and Boomerang or whatever his most expensive stuff is to strand him with stuff in his hand. Remand, stranding him, stuff in hand, exhaustion, keeping him from murdering you while you're not really interacting on the board that much. And how you kill is with these cards here. Ebony Owl Natsuke, hence where they get the name Owling Mine, right? Does 4 damage to your opponent if they have 7 or more cards in hand. Rune Flare Trap. Once you get 2 of these draw things going, this becomes 1 mana sudden impact, basically. Deal damage to target player equal to the number of cards they have in their hand. Really, you know, a lot of times this is going to be doing at least 7, you know, between 7 and 9 damage, usually for 1 mana, which is pretty powerful. Simian Spirit Guide is in there, so you can cast this while you're tapped out, which is cool. Or, you know, turn 1, play a Howling Mine, or turn 2, play a Fevered Visions. Basically, accelerate your game plan. Because the deck's kind of slow-ish. It takes a little time to build up. But when it works, it is so much fun. You just feel like super powerful, crushing your opponent. Very spirit-crushing to play against. You know, there are a lot of ways you could tune this. You could play Isochron Scepters for these cards, which is kind of hilarious. You could definitely tweak some things. I did make a board for this, unlike the other decks so far. You know, sweepers are great because you don't interact very well against your enemy here is Burn. You're horrible against Burn, which is why there's ley lines. And you're horrible against, like, Zoo and quick aggro decks, which is why there's these things in here. And Affinity, which is why there's Hercule's Recall, and Dredge, right? So, basically, you're sort of pre-boarded against slow decks. Against slow decks, control decks, whatever, you're probably going to win. Against the quick deck, you're going to have to board really heavily because you're not going to win the first game. So, anyway, very, very fun, very griefing, and good in multiplayer. So that's deck 4. Okay, so deck 5 is where we get really stupid, right? This deck is super fun. Plays a lot of one-ofs, which I like. This is another Eldritch Evolution deck. This is a... technically it's 5-color, although we don't have a way to hardcast this guy. Mostly 4-color Eldritch Toolbox deck. Now, I saw something similar to this. I made my own version. So here's how it works. You got a bunch of mana dorks and sacrificial fodder for your Eldritch Evolution. Now, there's only 2 in the main, but I could easily see putting that up to 4 because it's definitely the most powerful card in the deck. The reason why there's only 2 is because we wanted to fit in a Gifts Ungiven package. So, combos galore. Basically, there's 2 different ways to play this. So, one is to just toolbox for whatever card is going to be really effective against your opponent, whether that's Withered Wretch. This is my this is, by the way, a budget Scavenging Ooze, and it also works better in a multicolored deck, right? So if you guys can't afford Scavenging Ooze, pick up one of these. They cost nothing, and they work really great with a multicolored mana base. You don't have to worry about how many green you have. You can just exile a whole bunch of problematic cards. Malira as a way to combo out, well, actually as just a protection against Infect, really. It's in this deck. Actually, now that I think about it, I have to put a singleton sacrifice card in here so I can do the Kitchen Finks combo with it. Why didn't I think of that earlier? That's just foolish. Pride Mage as a way to get rid of an artifact or enchantment. Thalia against basically everything. This works really well, but especially against haste creatures, stuff like that. Thragtusk, Siege Rhino as ways to gain life. Shriek Maw as a 1/8/7 way to kill something. Sun Titan, bringing it back, bringing back any of these things, especially Eternal Witness. To go off, get back a land, get back and a Path to Exile, our only piece of non-creature interaction here. Reflector Mage, a way to slow everything down. Eldritch Evolution, right, is going to use any of these cards here, and we could also use this to combo off. So we've got instant win combo in Kiki Jiki with either Pestermite or Village Bellringer. This one I love because, first of all, this is basically the same as playing Deceiver Exarch. So I don't know why this doesn't end up being in more versions of the deck, because it's just really sweet. I mean, people go with Resto Angel because it's a better card, but this costs 1 less, which is not irrelevant, and it has a lot of utility with mana dorks. Also, just casting it and getting free mana. Anyway, so we can sacrifice once we can Eldritch this out off of Birds of Paradise, and then Eldritch Kiki Jiki out off of a Kitchen Finks or something like that. I need to tweak this just a tiny bit before I record with it, but I haven't pulled that combo off, but I've threatened it enough to the point where people are trying to deal with it, and I just kill them with Sun Titan or Siege Rhino. There's also Gifts Ungiven as a 2 of here, where we can Unburial Rites, Elish Norn, and put Elish Norn into play, which is a great way to win. Works really well with the Mana Dorks, or just put Grave Titan out, beat down. In the board, I haven't really fully fleshed out this board yet, but a couple things I was thinking about more of. Rex Sage is kind of like a better Sully Pride Mage. Iona and other Thalia as other targets to search up. Maybe we'll want the 4th Finks, I'm not sure. Maybe we want Spellskite as another target, not sure. But it's fun, and it's got so many different bullets you can get, different one-ofs, different ways to combo kill. I mean, it's just a blast. You know, you're coming at your opponent from so many different angles that it makes it really hard to play around what you're doing, and I find that really fun and exciting. So, anyway, those are the 5 modern decks I brewed this week. I hope you appreciate all my effort. Please comment which one was your favorite, and that'll be the first one that gets recorded, whichever one gets the most comments. Peace.